So our next speaker is George Vlastos, and I didn't know George before this event, so I can't tell you whether he's a good cook or a good bridge player, but I do have a list of 5 essential facts about George Vlastos. 1 is, he's a Wyoming native. 2, he's a part-time villager on the island of Crete, Greece, which means I'm already well on my way to hating him through jealousy. He helped design and he now helps maintain the Star Lane Center, an interdisciplinary, problem-based high school program in Casper. This has been his primary source of income for the past 15 years. He's getting better at, I don't even know what, he's getting better at skijoring. I don't even know what that is. Is that how you pronounce it? Skijoring. He's getting, oh, he's getting so good at skijoring. Presumably not on the island of Crete, Greece. He and his wife started raising their family in a top-floor apartment of the Connor Hotel, the Essential Connor, on the corner of 3rd and Grand, right here in Laramie. George's talk today is titled, Lightheartedliness-ish.
Yeah, we can just jump right into this. So many of you may recall that Jesus invited 3 of his disciples to join him on a mountaintop to pray. As that started to happen, Jesus showed that he was Christ, full divinity, laid out there, and it began. The uncreated light existed. Well, as it happened, it isn't so much about what Jesus was doing at the time, but the disciples. They understood that they too could have that uncreated light come from within them. They too could be a God. Now, it took a little while, approximately 1,000 years, but the monks of the Christian Orthodox decided, let's focus on that. What prayer was happening? How can we make that come into play? And they called themselves the hesychasts because they focused on the silence and the stillness that happened at that moment with Jesus. Where do you find these hesychasts? On a holy mountain, of course. This is Mount Athos in northern Greece. It is a monastic community, and it has been around since 964 AD. My brother and I heard about the hesychasts, and we heard about the mountain, and we said, let's make a journey. Now, we are not Christians by any stretch of the imagination, but we wanted to be in the presence of the hesychast, which isn't easy to do. Not anybody walks onto the holy mountain. In fact, there's paperwork involved. You must prove that you are a Christian Orthodox, which we are because our folks dipped us in some water when we were young in a Greek church, and you better be a man. You may not get on the mountain if you're a woman. We passed both, got our visa, we're on our way. We decided we would walk down the 20 miles of this peninsula to the mountain itself, and on the far end you might be able to see where it says desert. That's where the hesychasts live. That's where they pray. That's where they live as hermits in little caves and little shanties on cliff sides that rise directly out of the sea for 6,000 feet to the peak. It is a monastic community, however. Beautiful, 20 monasteries, centuries old, everything you could ask for, balancing grandeur and austerity. However, the 21st century has caught up, and as you can see, there are roads. And now, the 100 pilgrims that joined us had no problem jumping on buses or lorries and moving from monastery to monastery to make their pilgrimage. My brother and I, no way, we were going to walk. And as a result, we got lost often in this area. Greece is an old country, very little wilderness, but there is much here that is still fresh, pristine, and new growth. When we did land day 1, we ended up at the Philotheo Monastery. It is absolutely gorgeous, as the rest are, and we were greeted and shown around by 2 monks who said, do not go to the hesychast, do not go to the desert, stay here. And we said, well, why aren't you a hesychast? And they said they got their own work to do on the holy mountain. And we said, what kind of work? And they said, they maintain the bones of potential saints. And we said, so what makes them potential? And they said, there's divinity in the bones. We said, is the uncreated light in the bones? They said, no. We said, well, what good are they? They said, these bones can help bring the uncreated light out of you. We moved on. Next stop, the Grand Lavra Monastery. 104-year-old Master Hesychast is there. He's had enough of the cliffs and the hermitage and said he wanted to live the rest of his life in company. And he held my brother's hand and he held mine and said, that's all you need for hesychasm. That's enough. Next morning, we went into the refectory, ate with the monks, ate as much as we could, and I made the mistake of overeating because we knew we wouldn't eat till we got across the desert. And I ate a bunch of garlic sauce called scorthalia. And what I didn't realize is they make the sauce from wild garlic, and the gas became phenomenal over the next 3 hours as we entered the desert and the flatulence, and I completely stopped moving. My brother was worried about my health. And he said, we got to do something, stop it. So he went to find a hesychast. Fortunately, a hesychast found him. My brother told him where I was. The hesychast comes, gives us a little tincture. I drink it. It helped. And he said to me, instead of all of this flatulence, farting coming out of you, you want the light. But if you want the light, the key is you must destroy the imagination. You must move the mind into the heart, not the heart into the mind. That's the mistake with imagination. All I could think of was, where in the world is my brother? He explained that my brother, he had pushed on to his master, this hermit's master, an old man that lived in one of the caves. And my brother climbs down a long rebar ladder and reaches him. And this man will not look at my brother. He is in his zone, in his prayer. And my brother realizes he is out of his zone. It doesn't belong here. And all he can think is, if an uncreated light comes out of this hermit hesychast, it must be blue, because all my brother can see as he sits there in the cave and looks out and tries to gather around his imagination where he is and why he got here, is the blue of the sky and the blue of the sea, light and blue and light and blue and light.